Hey, I just wanted to quickly explain what I was talking about creating your sequence in one sitting. Because if you do what most people do and you write an email message and then you go and write another email message and you go and write another email message over a period of days, you don't get the same kind of flow as you get when you create a sequence up front. And of course you can make changes as you go. If you get feedback on the first message, you may want to change the second message slightly. But once you have this thing set up, so you've got your 4 or 6 or whatever messages you want to write as a sequence, you can see them all in front of you. You can chop pieces from one and put it in the other, and you can generally rearrange it so that it all flows and it all makes much more sense, so that when your reader gets these messages, they can see that you've put some thought into it and it's a proper sequence, and it starts off with a beginning, a middle, and an end. So this is how I do it. This is a picture of my screen, the top of my screen, and I get 4 text files and I load them up like this, and then I start writing, and I write the first message here, then I write the second one, and then the third one. And by the time you get to the third one, you've got this story in your head that you can understand what you're going to do and where you're going with this, and your reader can understand how the story flows and what you're talking about as well. So you get to the 4th one here. This might be the end of your initial sequence, or you can continue on and write 10, 20 messages in a sequence, and they can just go on and on and on. The idea here is that in this first one, you want to open a loop in your reader's mind, which means you might talk about something you're going to share with them in a future message. And then at the bottom you might open a second loop and talk about something else. So that compels your reader to want to open your next message to see what you're going to say. And then in this one you might close one of the loops but leave the second one open, and you open a third loop. And in your third message you might close 2 loops and open a 4th loop. You know what I mean? So you continue to use the same system as soap operas use to get you coming back. It was very difficult not to tune into the next episode of Lost and shows like that, because they open all these loops in the beginning in the first few episodes, and then they systematically close them as they get through the series. They also continue to open new loops, and that gets people insanely passionate about not missing an episode to see what's going to happen this week in Lost. You can make your emails do the same thing. So I hope that explains what I was saying in the email, and you can now see that by putting these 4 here, you can open the loops, and you always want to be telling a story in your messages. That gets people involved and they want to see the conclusion. So you open a loop, they want to see it closed, and then over a period of time you keep opening and closing these loops, and one day you might present a problem, which is opening a loop, and the next day you close it. And some loops may not be closed for weeks or even months, and that puts this craving in your reader's brain that they want to keep opening your messages to find the end of the story. So I hope that all makes sense, and I hope it helps you to write much better email messages for your business.